is Miles Whitworth, photographer for the Ballard Talisman. This is the second of our Artist on Artist series, and today we're talking to photographer Dylan Benson. Thanks for talking to us.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So, first off, how did you get into photography? Like, when did you start?
Well, my stepmom is a graphic designer, and she had a film camera, and when I was really young, like 7th grade, she showed me how to use it, and we would go take photos, and we got the film developed. So then I kind of started getting into photography then. I would say it was when I first started getting into it.
Did you have any other friends that were into it, or was it just for your stepmom?
Well, it was just my stepmom, but then I've made a ton of friends since then who are more into it.
Okay. What types of photography do you enjoy? It seems like you focus on city, but I've seen you do a lot of nature stuff recently.
I like city. I think that street photography, you get so much more unpredicted stuff, and it's all really original because it's just in the moment. The rooftops are fun, but I'm trying to do more nature. I'm getting kind of bored of the city. There's just I don't know, after a while every roof or every corner just starts to look the same.
I think one of my favorite shots of yours is you took a picture of a fisherman near the Great Wheel, I believe.
Yep.
Do you have a story behind that? Were you...
Yeah, that was the day that we should have had a snow day, but we didn't. And my friend and I woke up at 6 and went downtown and got there at 7. And walking around, I was hoping there was going to be a lot more snow, but by the time we got there, all the snow was frozen, or already melted, I mean. And so we go down to the pier just because that was going to be the coolest spot because everything else was already just wet.
Yeah,
and we were
so much
freezing. And then all of a sudden we're down there, and all of a sudden there's this dude on a boat comes cruising in, and we're on the other side of that dock across from the pier, or across from the Great Wheel. And then this boat, some guy probably working for looking at the seawall, comes across, and it was just in the moment, and luckily it was in focus.
Hey, where do you see photography taking you in the future? You're doing a lot now, obviously, but do you see this continuing maybe as a profession?
I've worked with a couple companies, and I've done some product photography, but I wouldn't say I see it going any further than just a hobby. I'd like to focus on other things more with a career.
Like what? Would those be related to photography in any way, or?
I mean, that'd be cool if it was a marketing if marketing somehow could tie in with photography, but I'm more looking at majoring in business with a minor in computer sciences.
So as I've said, you've done a lot around the city and you're moving more towards nature, but what are some of your favorite places? What are experiences that you've had that you really enjoy?
My favorite experiences in the city? Well,
just anywhere generally.
Oh, okay. I just love going on the hikes and just being out in nature. But some of my the best stories were in the city. One day we were at this abandoned building in Chinatown with a bunch of buds, and one of my friends sat on the skylight like an idiot when we were on the top of the roof, and he fell through the skylight 15 feet and broke his arm.
Oh. Wow.
And so it was super stressful, and so they had blocked all the ways to get up to that floor, and so we had to crawl through this window and find him and get him out of there because he broke his arm. So that was pretty cool. Another really fun one was when we hit the 5th tallest building in Seattle, and that one was just you're really high up there and you look over the edge and it's just damn.
Was that the Sheraton?
No.
Okay, never mind. I've seen a lot of pictures of that from you.
Yep, the Sheraton's a cool one. But yeah, it's just so fun, that moment when you finally get onto the roof and you look over the edge and you look at this, how high up you are, and you look down at the people and how small they are. Yeah, it just is such an adrenaline rush. It's super fun.
Yeah, I haven't had as much experience as you have with that, but the adrenaline rush really is something. How often do you come across treacherous situations like that? Because, what you do isn't necessarily allowed.
No, it isn't. Luckily, I haven't been arrested. That's definitely, always a concern. But I'd say, it's, pretty stressful for the most part. And I would say some of the most stressful situations have been when you just spend too much time up there. and you're like coming down and someone sees you up there and you'll get in trouble.
How do you think that type of danger, that type of experiences have affected your life?
I would say they've made me more cautious, and they've also like helped me like learn about my like personal fears and about my personal like the risks I'm willing to take. Like for example, I don't do construction sites. Those are like really hot right now in Seattle, and just so many people get arrested, like, and that's when the cops come. Like that's like it's definitely helped me define more boundaries.
It's definitely great not to be too reckless. Are there any other photographers that you either know or that you know of that you really admire?
Yeah, I've like shot with 206 shooter, and I think his work is pretty cool. He's a decent person. I have some friends at SAS. His name's Ben. Me and him go out all the time. Like, we're going to Vancouver next weekend to shoot with our friend Rye. I've met like tons of people all in the Pacific Northwest through photography, and that's definitely my favorite part, is getting to meet so many new and different people, because each person has like a different story and how they got into it and what they like to do and why they're doing it.
Is there anything that you'd really like to do?
I'd love to go. I'm really wanting to do more nature. I want to go to the beach. I would love to go do some more mountain hikes, and definitely lakes. There's so many beautiful lakes in the Cascades that I'd love to check out.
Yeah, this is really a perfect place for nature photography. We got mountains on both sides.
Yep, absolutely. I'd also like to definitely, in the future, I've like gotten the 5th tallest building in Seattle, so it'd be cool if I could get up maybe to the 2nd. The Columbia Tower is pretty unlikely to happen, though.
What is the 2nd tallest tower?
I believe it's the municipal building.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that is.
It's right next to the Columbia Tower.
Oh, okay. Do you ever get chances to go to other cities? I think you mentioned to me before this that you're going to Vancouver.
I'm going to Vancouver, and then I'm going to Hawaii. I've went to Taipei, Taiwan, and took tons of photos there. Yeah, that's the other thing. I love just going on different adventures. So yeah, in the future, I'd love to maybe go back to Asia and do some more photos. Like hopefully like Shanghai or Hong Kong.
When you go to other countries, like when you went to Taiwan, is there a big difference? Or are you usually alone? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, do the same skills apply in different places?
I would say it's all the same. Different culture. Like, they're definitely more strict, like, in, like, their rules, I feel like. And, like, people aren't as welcome. Like, in the U.S., people don't really like when you take photos of them and they're not looking and they see you. But there, they definitely really don't like it. And so, I mean, there's, like, a lot of controversy over street photography as it is, taking photos of people when they're not looking. But I would say the U.S. is, like, pretty general. But, yes, I would say it's different in each country.
So, when you're on top of a building or out on a hike, what do you usually look for in a shot?
What do I look for? I look for something that's, like, hasn't really... I love to, like, show things from angles or views that people haven't seen before. That's why I really like the rooftops. Or I'll go way off the trail to get a different perspective, to show, like, people, like, a different view from, like, maybe their ordinary views that you might have seen.
Thank you so much for talking to us. This has been Dylan Benson. His Instagram username is DylanOnARoof. And that will be in the description of the video. Thank you so much.
Thank you.